Ferdinand Hodler is by far the most famous Swiss artist, the most famous Swiss painter. He was born in 1853 and died in 1918. He got enormous fame during his lifetime. He got very rich during his lifetime, and with the exception of Switzerland, he's mainly forgotten outside, as I say, outside Switzerland. There's several reasons for that. We think he is a very important painter, a painter who should be looked at. His work should be shown, especially to an international audience. As I say, he was, before the First World War, he was very, very important. He was very, very well known. He was perhaps then the most famous artist in Europe. Anyway, we concentrate on the last works of Hodler, the last 5 years of his life. During the last 5 years of his life, he concentrated on some themes which he developed new, which he got back to. One of them is the self-portrait. The self-portraits of Hodler during the last 5 years are very fascinating, because Hodler is not really concerned about how he looks or how he ages or how he feels. He's concentrating on his eyes, which look to the viewer. So we sort of assembled, I think, 9 self-portraits and just made a whole gallery only with self-portraits, just to show Hodler's, I wouldn't say evil, but I would say intense eye. For me, in his landscape paintings, Ferdinand Hodler is the real inventor of the modern alpine view. Alpine view before Hodler is a glacier in the background, a thunderstorm, a destroyed hut in the foreground, some trees, some cows, and so on. What he does, he concentrates only on the peaks, on the mountains, on the geological structure of the mountains, and there's more or less nothing between the peaks and the viewer. That distances the landscapes in a way, but it confronts the viewer very much with what the landscape is really about, the height of the mountains, the sheer sublime power of the mountains. That's a wonderful view from a point above Montreux, over the Lac Léman. It's 1,700 meters high. It's really high, and it's wonderful. The painting is called Landscape with Rising Clouds. One looks on the lake and some rocks and the shore of the Lac Léman. The whole painting is geometrically constructed. It's an oval, structured by an horizontal and a vertical. And at the same time, a colleague of Hodler, Piet Mondrian, developed his early abstract paintings like an oval as well. And that is really not very far away from an abstract landscape. One has to keep in mind this is the perfect view on Lac Léman, but it's also very much constructed, and it's the construction without the view is an abstract painting, would be an abstract painting. Hodler wasn't an abstract painter, but he was clearly someone on the way to abstraction, and he was seen as that by his contemporaries. At the end of his life, Hodler was living in a very posh apartment in Geneva, on the shore of the Lac Léman, and he began, actually in 1916, very intensely during the last months of his life. The first month of 1918 began sort of November 1917, with views from his balcony over the lake to Mont Blanc. This is the Mont Blanc. And he made a whole series of different views in different daylight. He chose mainly early morning before sunrise, when the contours are very visible, very clear, and everything else is just a form and color, or colored form. This room is somewhat surprising in the exhibition for many who don't know this series or this side of his work. Hodler met Valentine Gaudí-Darel in 1908. She soon after became his model, and became in 1913 mother of his daughter Paulette. And shortly after giving birth to Paulette, they discovered that she suffered of cancer. And Hodler made a very moving, one could say shockingly moving, series of the illness and the death of his lover. View to Infinity is Hodler's last big figure composition. One has to has to keep in mind that Hodler was a very important monumental painter. He painted the big, very, very big format. It's a composition made for the Kunsthaus Zurich originally. That one that was too big for the people at Zurich, so he painted it anew, and there exists 5 versions. Apart from that one, we exhibit another one which Hodler kept at home all his life. So he was very, very much involved in very much, yes, he was very much interested in that work. So that's the reason why he kept it at home. Another version, not that one, that was a bit too big. That is 9 to 5 meters. It's really a very, very, very big painting, a very monumental one. It's called View to Infinity because the infinity is represented by these women, and the succession of women could be prolonged into infinity. And of course it has something to do with the éternel féminin, the eternal female spirit or whatever, or like Goethe put it, das ewig Weibliche.